Hello and welcome to Self-Care Tips. As we head to Labor Day, we're going to look at ways of working and how to be a better worker and how to find work and of course everything to do with work. And we're privileged to have with us Josephine Modekeli, who is a business owner, and she's going to take us through a lot of tips on how to be a good employer and also how to be a good employee. And also another thing, options to work. Welcome, Josephine.
Thank you very much, Irene. You were asking what is work. Okay, work is having earning a living. It's a method of actually in some people to achieve their dreams when you're working, especially the type of work. There are different types of work. Okay, like for myself, I started. My background is working in different hospitals in pathology. Now that's what I'm into nowadays, and I love it. I've been involved with it for over 28 years, also, which also to do with my profession. And network marketing is the one thing I like about network marketing. You are your own boss. I feel I have that freedom of connecting with as many people as I want, and the people in my type of organization, I've been training them how to approach customers out there, how to follow up. You have to have the passion in life. In order to succeed, you have to like what you do. Very, very important. So for me, I just feel blessed, and I love it.
Thank you very much, Josephine. It is obvious that you have a lot of passion for your work, and it looks like you are a go-getter. As an employer, get your employees off their feet. Let them work hard. Give them that chance to grow. Give them a chance to become what they can become, because it's all about work, and without work, how are we going to earn a living? Do your work well. This is Labor Day week, and success is sure to follow. This is Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge.
Uchaguzi mkuu wa tarehe 9 Agosti utabadilisha pakubwa taswira ya kisiasa ya taifa hili. Je, hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe mpiga kura? Kila Jumapili saa 12 jioni, jiunge nao Gladys Mungai na Harith Salim kwenye makala yetu ya Kenya ya Amua, ambapo pamoja na wadau mbalimbali watajadili na kudadavua kwa kina michakato ya uchaguzi. Fanya uamuzi wa busara. Usikose kutazama Kenya ya Amua kila Jumapili kwenye runinga uipendayo ya KBC Channel 1.
Every couple has that weird thing they do.
No, we're not like that. I see you had company.
Huh?
2 plates, 2 glasses.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Who are you with?
Until I walk down that aisle, I will work it.
I'm moving out.
What? Why?
Things are not working out.
What do you mean things are not working out? We were fine yesterday.
My ex-wife is coming to town tomorrow. We're going to try and make things work out. I'm sorry, Terry.
Just because things are not smooth sailing in your life does not mean you have to ruin it for anyone else.
The Kenyan Constitution has a 2/3 gender role provision for every elected office.
We have seen women coming up very strongly after the 2/3 gender rule that was passed.
If you empower a woman, you empower the whole community.
However, this quota is yet to be met.
The cultural norms, they feel like when you are a woman and you're not married, you don't stand fit to lead.
We must encourage all women to come up and work as a team so that we can deliver more seats come 2022.
Join me this Sunday on The Dadas Show at 4 p.m. as we dig deeper into the barriers that are limiting women to participate in politics. Join us.
Thank you for joining us on KBC Channel 1, the channel that gives you the most comprehensive news coverage in Kenya, East Africa, and of course, Africa. Well, it has been a very somber week for Kenyans as we have been mourning one of our greatest sons, the third president of the nation of Kenya. He was the head of state and government of Kenya. And well, we have wished the family condolences, and of course condolences have come from various parts of the world, and heads of state have also come to condole with the family. Well, we just can't, believe that he is dead. He was one of the greatest sons in the country, a man of valor and man of integrity, and of course a person bordering on genius. Well, my colleague Topi is also here. Well, Mwai Kibaki was a great sportsman, and he's going to be featuring on your bulletin as well.
Oh, yes. He is actually an ardent golfer. And also to be remembered that he was also a patron of the Muthaiga Golf Club.
Yes.
And that's where he also played his game, and just nearby his place.
Wonderful.
So he's a great, so the sports segment will also celebrate the President Mwai Kibaki.
So as we celebrate the life of the late former President of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, please do join us on Legends Edition. My name is Catherine Kasavuli. Now let's go to the highlights. "19-gun salute. Former President Mwai Kibaki laid to rest in his Othaya home with full military honors." United. Leaders join locals in bidding farewell to the late former president. And a nation at a standstill. Kenyans glued to screens to follow the live proceedings of the late former president's final journey. Thank you so much for joining us. Our sign language interpreter this Saturday is Lucy Mwaura. The remains of Kenya's third president, Mwai Kibaki, have been interred in his Othaya home in Nyeri County. The late Kibaki was accorded a state burial complete with a 19-gun salute in line with military tradition. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who led Kenyans at the funeral service, called on leaders and citizens to emulate Kibaki, who believed in hard work.
The final journey of Kenya's third president eulogized as a visionary, a leader, and a man who held deep family values. President Uhuru Kenyatta leading the nation in bidding goodbye to the late president at his native Othaya, a constituency he represented for nearly 4 decades.
Mungu na mlaze mzee wetu pahali pema. Mungu na ibariki taifa letu la Kenya. Mungu na ibariki familia ambaye imewachwa nyuma na mzee na wazazi wao, kwa sababu sio kipindi kirefu ambapo tulikuwa hapa tena tukimsindikiza mama wa boma hili. Kwa hivyo, accept our condolences, our respect and our prayers, and may the Almighty God rest this great soul in eternal peace.
The head of state calling on Kenyans and the political leadership in the country to aid the late Kibaki through deeds.
Sisi kama wa Kenya tusiseme tu kwa mdomo, lakini kwa vitendo, kwa fikira, tumuige huyu mzee katika yale ambaye tunatenda katika maisha yetu, na sina shaka tukifanya haya Mungu ataibariki na ataendelea kuibariki taifa letu la Kenya.
President Kenyatta says Kibaki had set a precedence of a leader who toned down on politics to deliver services to Kenyans. The president thanked Nyeri residents for supporting the late president for the entire time he was in power.
Wananchi wa Udhaya na Nyeri County kwa jumla, asanteni sana kwa kutupatia huyu mzee ambaye ametendea nchi, ametendea Afrika Mashariki na Afrika na ulimwengu mzima kwa dhati, na hatutamsahau na tutaendelea kuwa pamoja nanyi.
The president pledged government support to the Kibaki family.
The church has eulogized the late former President Mwai Kibaki as a leader who led with sense of respect to God and humanity. Nyeri Catholic Archbishop Anthony Muheria, who presided over the funeral service for the late president at Othaya approved school grounds, Nyeri County applauded Kibaki for exercising the virtue of reconciliation, forgiveness, honesty, and respect, a virtue, he says, is lacking in many leaders. His family terming the late former president as a father, a friend, and a teacher who always demanded good results.
The funeral service for the late President Mwai Kibaki at Othaya approved school Nyeri County. Nyeri Catholic Archbishop Anthony Muheria first led other bishops in praying for the departed soul of the late president, who was a staunch Catholic.
Tumaini letu la kutazamia ufufuko wa mtumishi wako Rais Mwai Kibaki.
The short ceremony proceeded by the homily.
From the gates of hell, deliver his soul, O Lord. May he rest in peace.
Nyeri Catholic Archbishop who led the sermon urged leaders to exercise the virtue of reconciliation and always ready to forgive.
How can we Kenyans? Why is it that we are so easily cheated, lied to, hijacked, to hatred of our own brother and sister? Today, what will he tell us? Love the other Kenyan. Love your brother. Love your sister. The only legacy, the true honor and respect will give our dear father.
He at the same time faulted a section of leaders for using the pulpit to settle political scores.
We Kenyans want to turn our places of worship into rowdy gatherings and sometimes political gatherings. Return to God what is God's. Give him his space.
Bishop Muheria adding that it was time to sanitize the Kenyan politics and discourage leaders against poisoning the political atmosphere as the country heads to the elections.
Mzee, when he came there, that's it. Nothing, no messages. He told the messages as he leaves. This is respect to God. Great respect of the sacred spaces.
The former president's children remember their father for his hard work, resilience, and generosity, a virtue they hold firmly even today.
I can honestly say that Dad's political victories were hard-won battles. I was in the thick of his 4 presidential campaigns. They were not easy.
Mzee was many things to me. Obviously, first, he was my father. He was a disciplinarian. But above all, he was a role model. He was one of the finest people I have ever known.
His old-time friends remembering the late Kibaki as a selflessness and honest man.
So he used to go to the university lecture rooms, deliver a beautiful lecture, and then when he comes back, apparently that's when he went to sleep.
Timothy Kipnusu for Legends Edition.
Deputy President Dr. William Ruto has called on Kenyans to go into the August 9 general election peacefully as an honor to the late former President Mwai Kibaki. Ruto, who spoke during the funeral service of the late president, credited him as the founder of modern-day Kenya. He urged the political class to emulate his style of leadership that embodied a unified Kenya.
Deputy President William Ruto has hailed the late former President Mwai Kibaki as the founder of modern Kenya, enumerating his great achievements when he served as the head of state.
He accomplished many things. From here, he became a great scholar. He became a great economist. He became a great leader. And of course, a great president and a father of the nation.
Ruto attributing the Kenyan infrastructure leap to the great efforts and foundations set by Kibaki, saying the current success is owed to him.
The first subsidized fertilizer in Kenya was brought about by the third president, President Mwai Kibaki.
The deputy president urging Kenyans to go into the August 9th general election in peace, saying never again should elections be contentious.
To go into this election and make sure that election will be peaceful and that it won't be necessary for us to have a handshake.
The deputy president commending the late president for his contribution to help ordinary citizens, singling out the boda sector he said employs over 1.4 million Kenyans. Yusufar reporting for the Legends Edition.
Former Prime Minister and Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance Party presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has lauded the late President Mwai Kibaki for his efforts in unifying Kenyans and politicians across the political divide, while eulogizing Kibaki as a selfless and brilliant leader. Raila singled out the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, which he said remains a mark of Kibaki's legacy.
Shukuru Mungu kwa maisha ya baba yetu.
Raila, who was once a prime minister during the tenure of former president, the late Kibaki, said Kibaki's legacy was filled with strong development projects, including infrastructure.
Work to try to bring these people together. Ken Matiba, Jaramogi, and Kibaki. Eventually try to, with Kibaki's people, we're negotiating. Uncle George Mohoho is here. And the late John Keane. Gegi Mugai. We tried to negotiate. It was not possible. And we said that if you guys don't agree to hang together, you shall be hanged separately.
Raila lauded Kibaki for his efforts in unifying Kenyans and politicians regardless of their political differences.
He came up with progressive ideas and he was able to bring all of us together and create a team that was ready to work for Kenya and say that Kenya first, everybody else is second. And therefore, we are paying a tribute to a great Kenyan leader. Fare thee well, Mwai Kibaki.
The former Prime Minister glossed Kibaki as a brilliant leader who made huge strides in leading the nation by introducing the 2010 Constitution.
Mwai Kibaki is somebody with a clear foresight and is ready to negotiate and also to take in new ideas. And through that, he managed to open the government and get new progressive ideas about development. So here, we've come today to say goodbye.
Former head of civil service and a close ally to the late Kibaki, Francis Mudhaura, described Kibaki as a great economist who introduced the Economic Recovery and Job Creation Program.
He was our teacher. He empowered all of us in the public service. He empowered the private sector. He empowered our military. He empowered our judicial service. Actually, there is nobody in the public service who cannot say he learned and got a lot of inspiration from our departed president.
Mudhaura said Kibaki will be remembered as the father of modern-day Kenya, who created a firm foundation for social, economic and political development.
He focused on the essential foundation of the economy, the infrastructure, the roads.
Frederick Moki for Legends Edition.
The late President Mwai Kibaki was buried in a private ceremony conducted by the Catholic Church and military. Unlike opulence, Kibaki's remains were interred in a modest grave at Kanyange village in Othaya, Nyeri County. Only close family members, military and senior government officials were allowed at the late president's home.
The church's lead mandate for the funeral service at Approved School for the fallen hero Mwai Kibaki ended at exactly 4 p.m. when the burial program was handed over to the military. From there, it was only the most immediate family members that were allowed to escort the body to his home compound. In the compound, it was a military affair and the late leader was accorded a 19-gun salute. After his casket had been lowered to its final resting place. Bishop Anthony Muere then took the mantle to lead the mourners in praying for the soul of Mwai Kibaki.
Emilio Mwai Kibaki has gone to his rest in the peace of Christ.
Before family members were allowed to bury their loved one. President Uhuru Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta then led top government officials to bid the late leader farewell. A floral arrangement followed. After the burial ceremony, the family was handed the presidential standard flag that was used by the former late president and the national flag.
Kwa majeshi ya ulinzi ya kuweza kuwapa pole zetu.
This before the military brought the event to a close, marking the end of an era with the national anthem. Ruth Wamboy reporting for Legends Edition.
A great son of the soil laid to rest, of course, a great son who brought a paradigm shift in the country. We now take a break and we'll be back shortly.
Kupata weka imani kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, dial *811 759#.
Jameni, yani kuna watu wanapitianga mambo. Wacha vile sisi tunaonanga mambo kitoko. Kuna watu wamepitia mambo makubwa. Fikiria kuhusu Job. Akapoteza mifugo, akapoteza mimea, watoto wake, na bado akasimama na Mungu. Hata wewe, weka imani. Usiwache Mungu.
Ili kupata weka imani, dial *811 759#. *811 759#.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Uchaguzi mkuu wa tarehe 9 Agosti utabadilisha pakubwa taswira ya kisiasa ya taifa hili. Je, hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe mpiga kura? Kila Jumapili saa 12 jioni, jiunge nao Gladys Mungai na Harith Salim kwenye makala yetu ya Kenya ya Amua, ambapo pamoja na wadau mbalimbali watajadili na kudadavua kwa kina michakato ya uchaguzi. Fanya uamuzi wa busara. Usikose kutazama Kenya ya Amua kila Jumapili kwenye runinga uipendayo ya KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. The late former President Mwai Kibaki's cortege made its way from the Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi to Othaya by road. The cortege left the funeral home at 7 a.m. for burial in Othaya as per the wishes of the family. Thousands of Kenyans lined up by the roadside to bid goodbye to a man who represented Othaya for almost half a century. Irene Muchuma reports.
So may he bring Mwai Kibaki to the fullness of resurrection and life with all the redeemed. Amen.
The procession of the former head of state, eulogized by many as a great man, began from the Lee Funeral Home Saturday for burial in Othaya. The casket bearing the remains of the late former president dropped in a national flag before being loaded to a horse carriage and escorted by the military all the way from Nairobi to Nyeri, almost 160 kilometers. KBC transmitting live the memorable moments of the late former president on his final journey on earth all the way through. The motorcade used Thika Superhighway, one of the national projects that the late president was credited for initiating in Kenya. Kenyans lined up along as a show of respect to the late former head of state. The motorcade arriving in Nyeri at 11 o'clock for a funeral service led by the Catholic Church. Irene Mchuma Odim, the Legends Edition.
Kenyans from all walks of life arrived at approved school grounds as early as 6 a.m. this morning to bid farewell to the departed former President Mwai Kibaki. Security was heightened at the entrance with nothing left to chance. Security officers frisked everyone who came for the ceremony.
Kenyans made their way to approved grounds, the venue of the departed former President Kibaki's funeral service. The young and old at equal measures. But before you access the venue, a thorough search at the gate by security officers was in order. Long queues could be witnessed outside the grounds. Those carrying refreshments were forced to discard them before they were allowed to the grounds. Matchboxes and cigarettes also had to be left behind. Once inside the grounds, members of the public were provided with bottled water, sodas, and a loaf of bread, then led to a designated area. One side of the grounds were pictures of the late Kibaki demonstrating his journey of life. The pictures told a story of Kibaki's greatest moments as a family man and politician. Since the approved school grounds could only hold 15,000 guests, those who did not get the opportunity to get into the grounds followed the proceedings from big screens erected in Othaya town.
Kenyans from all walks of life arrived. Oh, great. We apologize for the small mix-up. Residents of Kisumu Saturday thronged entertainment joints to follow the funeral proceedings of the late former President Mwai Kibaki. 2 large screens were mounted by the local administration within the town to enable residents follow the funeral service of the 3rd President of Kenya that he said revolutionized infrastructure in the country. Wycliffe Okech from Kisumu City.
Kisumu residents followed every beat of the funeral service of the late president from various joints. The county government of Kisumu, currently headed by Professor Nyang'nyong'o, who served in the late Kibaki's administration as a cabinet minister, had erected 2 large screens right at the city square to allow locals to catch a glimpse of the events kilometers away.
I'm very grateful for the county government of Kisumu that they have given us a special way of how we can see live proceeding from Othaya.
Kwanza umejua kama uko kwa nyumba uko peke yako. Hauwezi kushare na wenzako. Umejua tunaishi Kenya hii kama jamii. So ukipitia kitu na mimi nipitie na tuongee vile mambo iko sahihi na vile mambo ilikuwa wakati wa Kibaki. Inafaa kuliko ati kwa nyumba uko peke yako na pengine watoto hawaelewi. Watoto walizaliwa sahihi wakati wa Uhuru na Ruto.
The locals reminiscing memories of the former head of state for his good deeds.
Kibaki alikuwa mtu wa kuona mambo ya mbele. Kibaki alikuwa mtu wa kuongea jambo na anatenda.
Kutokana na uongozi wake mzuri na maongezi yake aliweza kuwa kuleta Kenya pamoja, haswa wakati wa elimu.
We have infrastructures whereby our businesses are flexible on our roads. We are very happy for this day, and may the Almighty God rest his soul in eternal peace.
And besides the memories, one Daniel Ouma had just one piece of advice to the current political leadership.
Let us sanitize the words that we are using so that we get a very good leader, a very good county, and embrace humility.
For the Legends edition, I am Wycliffe Okech.
And from Kisumu City, let's have a glimpse of how a section of Kenyans uniquely celebrated the life of the late former President Mwai Kibaki, who was laid to rest today at his Othaya home in Nyeri County.
Come, yes. Hold there. Hold here. Oh, good. You are a good girl.
Just wanted to this so I can plant trees. I can plant 90 trees to remember Mwai Kibaki. I want by 2030 I'll be already. I have reached 1 million trees,
Kwa leo tulikuwa Afro Sayari kwa sababu leo tunaelewa ni mazishi ya our former president Mwai Kibaki, na tulikuwa tuna celebrate the 90 years, lakini sababu hatungeweza kwenda huko Nyeri, tukasema wacha tukuje hapa with other stakeholders tupande miti vile pia yeye our president Mwai Kibaki alikuwa anapenda environment, ndio hata pia sisi tumkumbuke through that.
Tumekuwa na sherehe ya light candling, candle lighting, tukikumbuka shujaa wetu ambaye alikuwa rais wetu wa tatu, Emilio Mwai Kibaki.
To tell our leaders, our incoming leaders, we are almost electioneering period, and what I'd like them to do is to emulate Emilio Mwai Kibaki.
Kumbuka kama kiongozi wa kuendelesha nchi mbele. Barabara mnaziona, stima sahi hakuna mtu hana stima. So maji. So amefanya kazi mzuri.
Tungekuwa na Kibaki Day, ingewekwa Kibaki Day. Maana yake hiyo ndio inaweza kuwa kila mwaka watu wanakumbusha naye Kibaki. Maana yake Kibaki ni shujaa.
Nitakumbuka na masomo na kule kufungua Kenya wazi kiuchumi na kuhakikisha barabara zetu pia inaweza kupitika magari.
Well, I remember his slogan, Toka Gizani, Kuna Mwangaza. Well, we continue to celebrate the life and times of our late former president, Mwai Kibaki. We take a break. When we come back, Topili Ambila will be here with more in sports.
Uchaguzi mkuu wa tarehe 9 Agosti utabadilisha pakubwa taswira ya kisiasa ya taifa hili. Je, hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe mpiga kura? Kila Jumapili saa 12 jioni, jiunge nao Gladys Mungai na Harith Salim kwenye makala yetu ya Kenya ya Amua, ambapo pamoja na wadau mbalimbali watajadili na kudadavua kwa kina michakato ya uchaguzi. Fanya uamuzi wa busara. Usikose kutazama Kenya ya Amua kila Jumapili kwenye runinga uipendayo ya KBC Channel 1.
Aha, msikilizaji wa Radio Taifa, karibu tena kwenye kipindi kinajulikana kama Rada ni Yesu. Kila Jumapili kinaletwa kwako na rubani unayempenda anajulikana kama Mr. Rafton Igi. Ungana nami kila Jumapili kuanzia mida ya saa 12 mpaka saa 1 usiku. Kuna miziki noma sampulia hii.
Najua nitaona mazuri.
Mwambia mpenzi msikilizaji, ni kunanga ni kukaskush. Kila Jumapili ninakuletea miziki za mavijana. Kama wewe ni kijana na unataka injili kamili, utaipata hapa. Tuonane Jumapili hii.
Sauti ya Mkenya.
Once again, a good evening. I'm Topili Ambila, and as is my duty every Saturday evening on the Legends Edition, I bring you a comprehensive look at sports today. Now, Nairobi's Muthaiga Golf Club is to a greater extent synonymous with the late former President Mwai Kibaki, who was an ardent golfer. Gashoka Kingori spent a day at the club talking to Kibaki's fellow golfers about the love of the game, and he filed this report, Kibaki the Golfer.
About 10 years we have been off
and we have clubs heaping up there. So if anybody wants to go back to golf and you need clubs, come to me, because I have a lot of clubs which have been given to me by people who thought I would have a chance to play, but then I did not use them.
When he lived, the man who would become the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, was a lover of the game of golf. Although his membership cut across various golf clubs, his heart appeared rooted in Nairobi's Muthaiga Golf Club.
Somebody who has been associated with this club for a long time. I know the word out there usually is, if you're at Muthaiga, you're at the place where Kibaki plays, and Kibaki was always associated with Muthaiga.
So we spent a day in Muthaiga Golf Club where golfers talked about the man they adored. To some like 85-year-old Solomon Karanja, his relationship with Kibaki runs deep and personal.
When I graduated and I was working for a short time before joining the university again, he came and stayed with me at Adams Arcade. We have 3 bachelors there. Myself, Mwai, and a friend of his who had come from Cambridge. We actually stayed there until both of us went to get married to us, separate sprouts. Mwai got married to Lucy and went to Nairobi West. I got married to Wanjiru and went to Parklands.
Kibaki was part of the campaign that pushed for the Africanization of golf.
By that time, you got a critical mass of Africans who were in a position to be able to afford to join golf courses. And yes, there was a lot of promotion of the African professionals and businessmen to join golf courses.
While deputizing the late President Daniel Arap Moi between 1978 and 1988, Kibaki would religiously create time for a round of golf within his busy schedules.
Kujuana na mzee Kibaki, nilijuana naye wakati mimi niliingia kuwa gofa. Na yeye pia alikuwa ni gofa. Hapo wakati tunacheza competition na wakati tunacheza friendly, sana alikuwa tunakaribiana kwa sababu ya umri ulikuwa unakaribiana. Sio mimi peke yangu, rika yetu, rika yake na yangu ilikuwa inakaribiana sana tulikuwa. Na wakati kunafanywa draw, huyu atacheza na nani na huyu anacheza na nani, makapten sana walikuwa wanachaguaga watu ambayo wanaonekana ndio wanaweza kucheza na mzee, maana yeye ni mkubwa. Alikuwa anatafutua wale watu karibu na karibia rika yake. Kwa hivyo ingawa sisi hatukujuana naye, hata kama mimi sikujuana naye, nilikuja kuingia kwake laini yake, shauri ya kuwekwa draw pamoja na yeye.
Kibaki did not only play golf, he supported the growth of the game.
Very instrumental in terms of protecting the golf courses. So we had golf courses that were under threat of grabbers. We had clubs like Kisii Golf Club, Nyeri Golf Club, even Nyali was under threat. There was Mombasa Golf Club also. So all this, when former president was the Minister of Finance, Ndegwa, Duncan Ndegwa was very instrumental and went and talked also to the former president when he was finance minister to protect these golf courses. And were it not for Mwai Kibaki at that point, would have lost a lot of golf courses in this country. But he stood by the golf clubs and he ensured that they got their title deeds and their paperwork done. And he protected any other golf course that was in danger of grabbers.
From 1975, he sponsored the annual Kibaki Trophy tournament at the Nyeri Club. In 1978, Kibaki assumed the leadership of the country's golf fraternity as a patron of the Kenya Golf Union.
But him being the patron of Kenya Golf Union, he was the person who was in charge of all the golf. KGU, Kenya Golf Union, is the body that governs golf in the country. From PGK, which is a professional golf society, we have got KGU now that handles the amateur. We have KLGU that handles the Kenya Ladies Golf Union. And then we've got Junior Golf Foundation, which is for the juniors. So he was in charge of all this. So you can tell this is somebody who was governing the game of golf, and he's the one who's helped to take it to the level that it is at right now.
His leadership of the game, members say, is similar to how he spearheaded the affairs of the country.
No, Kibaki was a very interesting man in terms of leadership. He used to very often say that you cannot accomplish anything great alone. And he used to emphasize the importance of teamwork. And even when we were playing game of golf, you know, he always used to emphasize that this game you can never be played by a single person. You can play alone, but it's more enjoyable when it is played as a team. As a leader, Kibaki believed also in delegation, but not just delegation alone, but he always believed that if you get the best people, and you give them a job, and then you delegate, and then you leave them alone. You do not interfere with them, and you let them do their job. And they should only come to you only when they have a special challenge which required his attention. Therefore, he let clubs to manage themselves. He never interfered with the elections of club members or leaders.
And he did not like those who looked down upon their juniors.
I think he was very much an easy man to get with and concerned about others. I remember coming up here once, just to give you an example, and with Kirubi, you know, the little Chris Kirubi, we were playing golf, and as we were coming up there, Kirubi threw his club into that fence. And then he asked his caddy to go and get it, and why the caddy not to get it? He has thrown it deliberately. Let him go get it. That's the kind of man he is.
Kibaki was inducted into the Kenya Open Golf Limited Hall of Fame in 2018 for his contribution to the sport.
I met the late president on the course, especially because my husband would have occasions of teaming up with him and play with him a game of golf. And he would come and let me know what a pleasant person the president was on the golf course, and took it very nicely, very positively, and enjoyed even when the golf did not produce the desired results.
And when on the course at Muthaiga, Kibaki was easy, says a 90-year-old golfer.
Sisi tunamuona ni vice president, lakini yeye anatufanya tuwe free. Alikuwa mzee ajabu sana. Sisi huko tunaogopa kukaribiana na yeye na chochote tunaogopa, lakini yeye anatufanya tuwe free. Alikuwa mzee tofauti sasa.
Kibaki's love to play golf came to an abrupt halt following a near-fatal accident at the Machakos Junction, the year he would later win the presidency.
Played his last game of golf with yours truly, me. As a matter of fact, I was marking his card, Mr. Peter Kanyago and Mr. Koome. It was a day we had been in the office, in the DP office, or in the political party office of the day. And he just suggested and said, let's go and have a game.
Once a sportsman, always a sportsman. Let him rest in peace. Now, more than 80 players are fighting for the few available slots in the Kenya national men and women's hockey teams ahead of 2 international assignments later this year. The players stand up today at the City Park Stadium for the ongoing selection process. The ladies' team is set to compete in the Commonwealth Games coming up mid this year, while the men's team gears up for the All-Africa Games qualifiers next month.
The Kenyan national men hockey team has intensified training ahead of the All-Africa Games qualifiers to be held at Sink Union Grounds in Nairobi from the 17th to 21st of next month. The team of about 40 players has been training under head coach Fidelis Kimanzi at the City Park Stadium in Nairobi. Besides the qualifiers, Coach Kimanzi is looking to develop a strong national team that will also compete in future international events. A final squad of 20 players would be selected later to compete in the qualifiers.
At the camp, we started with 40 players. We've added another 6 players, which after this long weekend where we are training, we'll trim it down to around 25. And then we'll have the final of 20, which will go to the camp, and probably that will be the list which we'll use in the qualifier. At the moment, so today we are having 46, and that's what we intend to closely monitor them, take them through paces, through our structures, systems of play, and then the selection committee will be watching, and we will pick up the final list.
Their lady counterparts, still undergoing selection process, are preparing for the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, having secured a ticket from the Africa Cup of Nations in Ghana, where they won a bronze medal.
Very successful. Let me start on that point. I think what we try to do is try to incorporate all the players around the country that perhaps we didn't have a look at before. And so far it's going well. We've been training for a few months now towards the Commonwealth, and as of today, I'm a very happy coach because I'm very happy with the fitness results that I've seen today in terms of where we want to be at this point. So going forward, I think we are in a good place.
The ladies will report to camp next month after the selection process is complete, and the team in camp will again be reduced to a final squad that will travel to the United Kingdom.
Now, Ghana's Exchequers and USIU Kenya registered wins on the first day of the Gold Cup Hockey Club Invitational Tournament, which began today at the Sikh Union Club in Nairobi. USIU Kenya defeated Strathmore Kenya 1-0, while Exchequers Ghana thrashed Kenya Police 4-1.
Samson Ratia scored the only goal for USIU as they registered a 1-0 win over Strathmore in the opening match of the Gold Cup Hockey Club Invitational Tournament at the Sikh Union in Nairobi. Ratia scored the long goal in the 30th minute of the match that had little chances on goal, with both sides sharing an almost 50-50% possession. In the second match, Ghana's Exchequers had an easy time against Kenya Police, scoring 4 times against a single goal by Police. Emmanuel Kwanzaa opened the score in the 13th minute, but Police responded in the 32nd minute with a leveller scored by Oliver Ichenje. Ghana then controlled proceedings from that goal, netting 3 more times through Akaba Elikem in the 35th minute, Kwevemo Solom and Daniel Bempa in the 44th and 57th minutes respectively. 2 more matches will be played tomorrow. Exchequers will play USIU in the first match before Strathmore play Kenya Police.
Now, Banga's KCB defeated KDF in 3 straight sets in the only volleyball league match played today at the Nyayo National Stadium. The 2 other fixtures on the card today were not played after Vihiga County and the Kenya Army failed to turn up for their respective matches against Kenya Pipeline and Nairobi Prisons, respectively. KCB took control of the match in the first set, winning 25-21, before dominating the second set to win 25-13. KDF are up their game in the final set, but few mistakes led them to slip again, losing that final set 25-19. Pipeline and Prisons then opted to stage a friendly match after their opponents failed to honor their fixtures. Let's take a look. On the local scene, Tusker FC narrowed the gap on the leaders Kakamega Homeboys to just 3 points after beating Talanta FC 1-0 at the Ruaraka Stadium. Rogers Ouma scored the lone goal of the match in the 31st minute of the game. Bandari defeated Bidco United 2-1, while Vihiga Bullets lost 1-0 to Posta Rangers. Some of the action. Over to the international scene, Liverpool kept themselves firmly in the fight for the quadruple as they overcame a spirited Newcastle 1-0 at the St. James Park. Coach Jurgen Klopp made 5 changes, including leaving top scorer Mohamed Salah on the bench from the Champions League semi-final game on Wednesday. Let's take a look.
Those from looking for Gomez. Joelinton, who's been a good ball in as well. Sadio Mane there to attack it, although the offside flag is up.
Yeah, and there's an example.
Alisson's there in a much more orthodox manner.
Yeah, that's often the hope, somebody breaking free like Sam Mac.
He played absolutely magnificently done. It's a goal of huge quality and huge significance as well. But he's shrouded in controversy as Fabian Schär lies on the deck. Newcastle felt as though it should have been a free kick. Liverpool take advantage.
Now, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta is optimistic Bukayo Saka will be fit for the away game against West Ham tomorrow, despite the winger limping off after 74 minutes against Manchester United last weekend. The Gunners are without Kieran Tierney and Thomas Partey, neither of whom is likely to play again this season. That fixture and many more follow in our sports diary. Now that's a wrap-up for the sports edition this Saturday evening, and back to you, Catherine. And yeah, it's quite a heavy day, was it?
It has
quite
been
a somber week.
It has been a somber week. It has been a very heavy day today, but we just thank God for his life, for the late president's life, and of course for all the wisdom that he gave to us. We just start gleaning from the points that he spread to the people, because the man was actually a genius, though many people did not know that or did not want to acknowledge.
Oh, you bet. And also, for the sports fraternity, I think it's been great.
Yes.
Having a president, involved very actively in a game, apart from the Kenya Golf Union, that is really great. And we hope that, his family takes it to heart that, he was a great man.
That is true. That is very, very true. Okay, so it has been a very, very nice evening. We thank you so much for watching Legends Edition. I am Catherine Kasavuli. Our sign language interpreter has been Lucy Mwaura.
And I'm Topi Liambila, bringing up the end this evening. And we hope that you tune in again and have a sporting week ahead. And we'll see you again, God willing, next Saturday for another comprehensive Legends Edition. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for keeping it KBC Channel 1. And for 5 decades, he has been the face of the musical program at national and public holidays. His choral music compositions have stood the test of time and are known by heart by Kenyans. He is a member of the Permanent Presidential Music Commission and is still engaged whenever there is need for themed songs. Tonight we speak to Mwalimu Thomas Wesonga, an icon, I must say, aging gracefully. So good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Many would want to know what's the story behind this legend sitting before me tonight. I mean, just tell us a bit about your early life, who you were, back then.
Mwalimu Wesonga is an ordinary citizen who was born almost 65 years ago in a county called Siaya, in a constituency, Ugunja, in a location called Uholo, in a village called Malomba. And I was just an ordinary boy who is born from peasant family, parents. That is my mother and my father. My father was working in Nakuru in European farms, and my birthplace itself is in Nakuru, somewhere you call Kampiamoto, just near where the farm of Moi ends. And I grew up in that rural area, and get my primary education down there. Then went to Mombasa and did my secondary education, and then later on went to college, and then trained. Initially, I trained as in the engineering area, but then later on, due to health circumstances, I changed my profession to a teacher, and I became a teacher. And that is how far I am initially.
Yeah. All right. But you see, with this rich, background, there's one thing that has made you an icon in our country today, and that is music.
Yes.
And how you have, crafted the art of coming up with very ageless patriotic songs. I'm curious to know, did music find you or you found it? What is your story? How did it begin? And what did you do to hone your skills to the level that you're recognized not just locally but globally?
I can't say whether music found me or I found it, because music has already been there. But as I've just mentioned, that initially I didn't have basic education in music, because I was not exposed in music. Because the schools I was learning, there was no music. But it seems there was talent which was hidden, and I didn't know. Later on, I discovered that it was from my mother's side. She was a singer even in the church. So when I went to secondary school and in Mombasa, I joined church choirs there, and that's now where the interest started. I was being trained with the lady from Tanzania called Mrs. Shauri Tanga, and she's the one who impressed me, and I got interested in the way she was teaching music, and I became interested in music, and later on took it as a profession later.
So there was no advantage of going to a formal music school like what we have right now?
No.
You had to work hard to really, master the art?
There was. But me,
you didn't. That's what I'm saying. You didn't have that advantage.
I didn't have that advantage. Yes.
To go to a formal music school.
Yes.
But here you are, sitting, carrying that talent with you.
In 1978, when President Moi, the late President Moi, took over, he was traveling all over the country, inspecting development, etc., addressing people, and he was to come to our region, and that is where the social services person, there was a lady there who came to our church because she knew I was a composer of church music. Then she's the one who made me start now composing patriotic music, because she just said that, Mwalimu, I've seen you are composing very nice church music with African rhythms. The new president is coming across, we have been told. Can you compose a song, a patriotic song? Then I asked her, what is a patriotic song? Then she told me that a patriotic song.
Really, the icon of patriotic songs.
Yes.
Did not know what patriotic songs were.
I did not know it came from a lady, which is still there, but she's very aged now.
Yeah. So which song was this very first one?
Kenya yetu nchi nzuri. So she told me to compose a song. Then I composed a song. She didn't know. She just told me that, then went away. Then after 2 days, she came back. Then she said, do you have anything? I said, yes, I've started training the choir. And then she said, that's good. Continue. Then I trained the choir. But when the day came, the president did not come. He changed. I think he was busy somewhere else. Then he was to come after 2 months. Then she said, continue polishing that song.
That's how you got into it.
That song, and now people were interested. I've not sung it outside. It's just with the choir alone. Continue polishing that song. We have been told it's coming again. But if you can compose another one, no problem. Then now I was following up. This Moi man, who is the president of Kenya, he's going around the country. And I hear what he's doing. He's preaching peace. He's talking about development. He's talking about unity. And that one touched me a lot. And therefore I said, now, the other song is talking generally about Kenya. Can I say something about him because of what he was doing? Then is when I composed the song Tawala Kenya.
Tawala Kenya.
Yes.
So Tawala Kenya came, it was not commissioned by Moi himself?
No.
Wow.
First of all, he had it after 5 years.
After 5 years, after you composed the song?
Because even when I composed it, he never came again. And then I got transferred and went to Mombasa. We went back to where I was studying. And that is now when I joined the Mombasa Teachers Choir, and this is the choir that I trained this music, and that is when later on he heard the song.
So several songs, several songs came after that.
Yes,
and one that stands out for me is Heko Jamhuri. This is a song that pushed you to prominence, and you performed it over the years with many choirs, including the Muungano choir. I just want to do something interesting. Just sing something for us. Heko Jamhuri, a special request for me.
The first verse was talking of 20 years, but later on, after it became so popular, I changed it to be a song of all seasons, and that's why I changed the first verse. So originally it was being sung, miaka 20 imepita wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu, aya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Heko Jamhuri, heko Jamhuri, heko Jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Heko Jamhuri, heko Jamhuri, heko Jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Wilaya zaenda mbele, tarafa zaenda mbele, mikoa yaenda mbele, nchi yote yaenda mbele, etc. And it became like that. Even now people are asking me, how did I knew that devolution was coming? No, me, I just talked about what was going on, but maybe this thing came in by coincidence.
I want you to talk to me about Tushangilie Kenya. That is like something, a bug that bites you, and that the melody keeps singing in your head. What was going on through your mind when you composed Tushangilie Kenya?
Tushangilie Kenya was composed later. I think almost Kenya yetu ya nchi nzuri was composed in 1978 by a choir that even never sang it. It was a church choir, because later on it was they never performed it publicly. They sang it but never performed it. It was a church choir of old people and young people also. Then in 1979 I composed Twajivunia Nchi ya Kenya and Tawala Kenya. Then I went to Mombasa. Now I was teaching there because I was doing private studies also. I wanted to promote my level of education. So I was requested, as I've just mentioned, to compose Heko Jamhuri. Then after Heko Jamhuri, now we celebrated 20 years of independence. And unfortunately, we came to Nairobi and we did not sing. And it seemed the president was not amused because it was organizers. I think they failed. We don't know what happened, but we came with a whole choir of 2,000 and a teachers choir of 200. 2,000. A whole train was given up two trucks.
Wow. And
wagons.
did you not get a chance to perform?
Yeah, and on that day is when Nyayo Stadium was being opened. And Uhuru Park was also being opened. And we had almost 7 heads of state. That's President Kaunda, this one of Ethiopia, Mobutu Sese Seko, Bote. And so at night, We were the first day for performance was at night to open the Nyayo Stadium, and then in the morning the main day was Uhuru Park. But by coincidence, by bad arrangement by that time, organizers, we were being accommodated in different places. And nobody arranged for transportation in the morning, because some were at Bagati, this one, it is now called Media, University, the other one, the one of Teleposta. Then others were in Mangu, and others in Nairobi School, others were in Alliance, others were, we were staggered all over. So in the morning, they could not collect us and bring us to the stadium to sing. So the program went on without us singing, and I think
Moi was not happy
people were not happy. We went back, but then later on, they decided that this young man who is training choirs in Mombasa, we want him to do it nationally.
All right.
And I was transferred to Nairobi.
All right. Let me just move you a bit faster. In the 1980s, saw the rise of what was known as the Nyayo songs.
Yes.
We remember songs like Tawala Kenya Tawala, the one you just talked about, Rais Moi Asante,
Yes.
Fimbo ya Nyayo. Did he commission the songs, or what was the inspiration behind your passion to write about the president then?
Another misinterpretation was coming from politicians, maybe who are not within the system, and there were some of them were the ones who were misinterpreting that Moi was sitting with musicians and these people were composing, so that to tell them to compose or pay them. No, or me because I was one of them. All the music that we hear about Moi during that time, he didn't know how they came up. They were just hearing what he is doing and following up, and they are composing. And because now he was traveling all over, and he also appreciated music, that one encouraged musicians to create more about patriotic music, and also about songs, national songs.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about, a man that many have eulogized as an icon and a true legend in this country, and that is the country's third president, Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. There was a change of guard in 2002 as the late former president took office. I know there must have been something different about the composition of songs in the era of Mwai Kibaki and in the era of the late president Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. Just even as you talk to us about that change and how you compare the two eras, and also what you remember about your interactions with Mwai Kibaki.
First, on behalf of the music fraternity, that we have lost a great leader, President Mwai Kibaki. He was quiet, and people who were far from him did not know him very well. But we who were working with him, we knew him very well. And for example, there was a lot of fear when he came in, when he took over power. And especially those who worked close to the former regime were somehow scared. And even some people were scaring them that now your father is gone. Now this is a different regime, and it will be like this. And especially we, the musicians, because there were quite a number of musicians whose music were really praising what he was doing. But surprisingly, to His Excellency, the late President Mwai Kibaki, he did not come in radically to overturn everything. He went in systematically, and later on, just on our side, because I was during that time. At the moment, I'm in the office of the president because I had finished my term and I am now contracted. And during that time, I was at the Music Commission. I was the one dealing with all state entertainment, etc. So I remember when we previously during President Moi, people were going, New Year was being celebrated either in Nakuru or in Mombasa. So this time we were told the new president is going to Mombasa, and all choirs went there.
Yeah.
And people thought that it is normal. Yes. So we went there and we stayed there for a whole week, and no instructions were coming to direct us to do something. So I, with my friend Mr. Wanjoy, who is now the director of state function, he's a young man, he's not old. I worked with him from when he was a young person. So I just asked Mr. Wanjoy, why can't we talk to the high authorities about having a program similar to what we are having? Because the president is here and he has stayed for almost now 10 days and is quiet and he is also not in very good health. We need music. So we went to see the provincial commissioner then in Coast, Mr. Cyrus Maina, and we mentioned to him. And then he said, oh, yeah, Mwalimu, we don't know. The current people who are there, maybe they may associate it with the former regime. It needs to be done carefully. And I told him, but we know you are not singing to an individual, you are singing to our country. Yes. Then he said, truly, and the country has to go, and these are just people like us. They don't come from heaven. I think it's just a approach. Then he went to Matere Kireri, who was the controller of State House, and Matere Kireri just went and contacted the president there that minute, asking about these people, these musicians. The president knew me. He just said, this young man now, anaimbaga nyimbo hizi za tawala is here, and they want to organize some concert, a small concert for you.
Did
Christmas
he allow you to
Eve.
do that?
He said, kuna mneno hiyo ni mzuri tu.
And that is how it
So
happened.
we organized it.
All right.
And then that is when music again started picking up.
So I just want us to wind it up on that particular note. That was quite an interesting experience you had there in 2015.
Yes.
As we bring this to a close, as your parting shot, just very briefly, what would be your advice to the upcoming choral music composers?
Yes, choral music composers at the moment, let me say advice to all musicians, because because and especially the pop music, these young people, they have very good music, but what matters now is the text. Text matters, because sounds, melodies are just good, but text, we must get the right text that can last long. Which means it must have some message that is educative, or positively, not negatively. And this is now the problem we have with the current musicians. You find them singing, and then after a short time, what when I remember, and then at first time it is not there. But we as musicians, we find that there was very nice music there, but it is of the relevancy is what made it be away. So there are some music that you cannot share with your young ones, or the young ones cannot share with the old ones. Yes, and then some dancing styles, those ones, because it diverts the purpose of music is entertainment, but theirs is sex. When you look at it, it's just sex throughout. And
so
now that one,
losing it.
That's why they are losing it. Yes, and then they are too commercial, because first of all, with things like arts, you must be voluntary first, contribute, and then they appreciate your work is when they will look for you. Because like me, they don't look at me as Wasonga ni nani, it's useless. But they say, who composed Tuishangilia Kenya? Then it is somebody called Wasonga, and then they say, come back.
So let your work speak for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for creating time for us as we were just celebrating you as a living legend. So we have been speaking with Mwalimu Thomas Wesonga. He's a choral music composer and soloist. He's known for songs like Heko Jamhuri, Tushangilie Kenya, and Tawala Kenya Tawala. He has been a member of the Permanent Presidential Music Commission and still offers his services to the country during national and public holidays and at state events. My name is Safina Cheng Oma, and you have been watching the Living Legends on KBC Channel 1.
The Kenyan Constitution has a 2/3 gender role provision for every elected office.
We have seen women coming up very strongly after the 2/3 gender rule that was passed.
If you empower a woman, you empower the whole community.
However, this quota is yet to be met.
The cultural norms, they feel like when you are a woman and you're not married, you don't stand fit to lead.
We must encourage all women to come up and work as a team so that we can deliver more seats come 2022.
Join me this Sunday on The Dadas Show at 4 p.m. as we dig deeper into the barriers that are limiting women to participate in politics. Join us.
Aha, msikilizaji wa Radio Taifa, karibu tena kwenye kipindi kinajulikana kama Rada ni Yesu. Kila Jumapili kinaletwa kwako na rubani unayempenda anajulikana kama Mr. Rafton Igi. Ungana nami kila Jumapili kuanzia midaya ya saa 12 mpaka saa 1 usiku. Kuna miziki noma sampulia hii.
Najua nitaona mazuri.
Mwambia mpenzi msikilizaji ni kunanga ni kukaskush. Kila Jumapili ninakuletea miziki za mavijana. Kama wewe ni kijana na unataka injili kamili, utaipata hapa. Tuonane Jumapili hii.
Sauti ya Mkenya.
Here's to wishing you a lovely new chapter in your life. Cheers. And may you flourish and have lots of babies.
Not too many. Cheers.
Baby, I forgot to mention to you. I need 12 boys.
12?
There's a full-fledged football team. As a referee.
Is Richard still coming? Yeah, he should be. You mean he hasn't called yet? You know what, in fact, let me go call him.
Hi.
Hi, babe.
Come on.
Are you still coming?
What? Imagine the boys dragged me to go off the game.
Okay, I told you about Maureen and Paul's engagement party.
Actually, I won't make it. You guys come here.
Are you serious? Come on, I called you earlier and we agreed. Do you know how bad you're making me look right now?
Babe.
You know what? I can't even deal with you right now. Just...
Babe, come on.
Whatever.
Don't like that.
Those two? Crazy. Yeah. 2 peas in a pod. Is he like? Did you get Richard? Yeah, he's not coming. Are you two guys okay? Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
call you back. Okay.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Working on the corp account?
Yeah.
That's nice. You really look good today.
What can I do for you, Jeff?
I was wondering, would you like to go out for lunch with me? Nothing fancy. We could go down at Bobo's across the street.
I appreciate the gesture, but I have lunch with my mom today.
Okay. Maybe we could have coffee tomorrow?
Jeff, you do know that I have a boyfriend who I really love, right?
You mean you're not secure enough in a relationship to have coffee with a workmate?
I am. Here's what we'll do. When I'm done with my corp account, how about we have all the coffee that you want?
Okay.
How is Richard?
His work is good. It's a bit slow right now, but in the next 2 months, I think should have picked up.
How is Richard?
I just told you.
No. You just told me about his work.
Yeah, he's good.
When are you two getting married?
Married?
You've been together for 4 years now?
5, actually.
Exactly. Stop wasting each other's time. Plus, you're not getting any younger, and I'm not getting younger either. Despite, I want grandchildren.
Mom, listen, I'm still very young. I mean, I'm only 29.
Soon to be 30. Your cousin got married at 25. Your schoolmate is getting married. What's her name?
Maureen.
Maureen. Plus, I want to dance at your wedding while I still can.
Mom, you're perfectly strong and healthy.
That's what we all thought about your Aunt Joyce before she died with a stroke. Education, money, a good job, it's all great. And I'm happy for you for achieving it. But it's all nothing while you're seated in a big house all alone in the middle of the night.
Hi, baby. So, how was work?
Okay. You're home early?
Yep. Perks of being your own boss.
I see you had company.
Huh?
2 plates, 2 glasses.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Who are you here with?
Paul?
Paul, I thought you went to Uganda.
No.